Liz Montaner, and I guess we'll start. We are the parents of 2 adult children. Our son had a happy, healthy childhood. He had a lot of friends. He was a good student, and he went off to college to play lacrosse. As a senior, we began to notice some strange behavior and unusual thoughts. After college, he headed out west to chill out for a year, and when he came back, his thoughts were even more strange. We finally convinced him to go to see a psychiatrist, but he refused to take medication. He had what we call anosognosia, which is a neurological deficit that prevents a person from understanding they have an illness. On January 8, 2010, my son called me from New York City and said he was dying of cancer and wanted to get home to die with his family. I hopped on a train and I found him in New York City in Penn Station, which was a miracle. I convinced him to go to the hospital to check out his cancer, and within 24 hours, he was committed, involuntarily committed. If a person living with mental illness is over the age of 18 and refuses treatment, sometimes the only answer is involuntary commitment. Maryland is one of the 5 most challenging states in the country to achieve that goal. Mental illness is a biological brain disorder. It's not a character flaw. Mental illness is no one's fault. But most importantly, mental illness is treatable through medication and therapy. There are many types of mental illness. Bipolar disorder, also known as manic depressive, is a mood disorder where it affects energy and mood levels. Depression is a serious medical illness. It's not something you make up in your head. It's not feeling down in the dumps. Depression is severe and debilitating, a feeling of hopelessness for weeks on end. Post-traumatic stress disorder is an anxiety disorder that can develop after exposure to a traumatic event. It causes people to feel stressed even after the event is no longer there. Schizophrenia is a chronic, severe, disabling brain disorder. It's not split personality. People with this disorder may hear voices that others don't, or believe that others are broadcasting their thoughts to the world. There are many illnesses, many other kinds, commonly talked about or even joked about: obsessive compulsive disorder, attention deficit disorder, and the list goes on and on. So what? You've heard all this before, I know that. What am I asking you to do about it? Everyone knows a little about mental illness, but knowing the facts can help you educate others and reject stigmatizing stereotypes. 1 in 4 adults experience mental illness in a given year. Each has their own story, path, and journey that says more about them than their illness says. In fact, I had my own mental health incident some 40 years ago. Back then, there were more mental health providers, there was better insurance coverage, and there was no HIPAA law to prevent parents from seeking treatment for their adult children. I was lucky. My son was not so lucky. Stigma is a collection of adverse and unfair beliefs. It leads to inaccurate and hurtful objectification of people as dangerous and incompetent. The shame and isolation associated with stigma prevent people from seeking the help necessary to live normal, healthy lives. It takes a village to create a supportive community environment for people living with mental illness. We need more healthcare providers, educational resources, housing, and employment opportunities. As I stand here today as a mother, yes, but also as a person, I ask you to take the pledge with me to become stigma-free, to choose your words carefully when we describe someone with mental illness, to stop perpetuating stereotypes, to strive to not let mental illness define a person's complete identity. In essence, we need to see the person, not just the illness. Raise your hand if you know someone who may be struggling with mental illness. Keep your hand up if you love someone struggling. And please stand up if you are willing to take the pledge to become stigma-free. One more. Stop the stigma and start the conversation. We need better laws to help families and their loved ones get the treatment they need. Early comprehensive care will result in better long-term outcomes and cost way less than untreated mental illness. Remember remember, whether an illness affects your heart, your leg, or your brain, it's still an illness, and there should be no distinction.